It's saying, oh,
It says
I
it's
think we're
live.
live. Hooray!
The pure joy when you see that little red thing in the corner come up and go, "You're live."
Hello, everyone. We're in a little bit of awe because as I was setting up the green room for Kim and I to have this live, StreamYard was nice enough to let us know that they've been having issues with LinkedIn. So if people have started joining, please feel free to comment. We should be able to see them as we are chatting. But we would love for you to say hi. We would love for you to let us know where you're coming from. If you're watching the replay, definitely feel free to comment that stuff as well, because we would just love to see who we're connecting with and who we're reaching. So, hi, everyone. Welcome to Decode the Damn Moment with Kim and Mel. We are hosting this live because this is a new space that Kim and I had created and officially birthed into the world today. And we wanted y'all to spend some time getting to know us as well as get a little bit deeper. Hi, Carissa. Because for those of you who are from my audience, you may not know Kim. Actually, to be fair, probably like a lot of my audience already knows Kim because our mutuals are massive. Hi, Sarah. And then we can chat a little bit more about how we came up with Decode, how we've actually been utilizing it for each other the last, year or
Yeah,
so? It's
yeah.
insane. And anything else? So this is, as you've already noticed, interactive. We love to chat with you. We love to chat with each other. Please feel free to comment things, to ask questions as we're talking. We'll take pauses to answer them. But we really want this just to be a great way for us to kick off a long weekend here on the States. Kim is in Canada. And just have a great time. So with that said, Kim, how the fuck are you?
I'm fucking great, man. We had our short week this week, so
Oh, that's right. Nice.
yeah.
Well, I would love for you to introduce yourself for those of you who don't already know you and your magic.
Absolutely. And then I want to flip it around and have you introduce yourself for those in my world that don't know you. So hi everybody. I'm Kim Romaine. I call myself a life and business alchemist. What the fuck does that mean? Well, what it means is I spent a lot of time in boxes, and those boxes involved my life and my work, my business. And I created some alchemy to bring them together. And one of the tools that I used to create that alchemy was human design, which led to gene keys, which led to an even deeper dive into astrology, which led to da 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 da, da all the things because
All
I
the can of
am,
worms.
yeah, because I am a manifesting generator. Yeah, I mean, I think that's where I actually want to stop right there. I feel
Beautiful. Now my
like,
dog wants to say hi.
oh, hi, Daffy.
No,
Mine's snoring over in the corner.
oh,
So
that's nice. She's
yeah,
supposed to swine.
yeah.
Gorgeous.
Yes,
Well,
Mel,
hello.
share yourself.
Yeah. So, hello, everyone. My name is Mel McSherry. My pronouns are they, she. And I call myself an international business and life guide. I primarily use human design in partnership with traditional business development tools and frameworks to help inspired yet overwhelmed entrepreneurs honor their lives and become the true architects of their actual success, not the bullshit capitalistic training success.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited to be sharing this space with Kim because of the duality that we have in regards to our connection to human design and also the duality of how we implement it. As you just heard, Kim uses it in coercion with a lot of amazing modalities. For me, human design is just like my chef's kiss because I'm what's called a projector, which means I don't have a ton of natural energy. So anytime that I can find something that gives me that energy, which typically comes from a major source, that's when I make the most profitable decisions. Hello from Sarasota. Um, so when we got introduced to each other, which I don't remember who of our mutuals did it, because I'm sure there were dozens chomping
Nancy.
at the bit. Was it Nancy? I
It
couldn't
was
figure out if remember
Nancy.
if it was Nancy or Dorothy. Um, our first virtual coffee was supposed to be 30 minutes, and I think it lasted like an hour and a half.
It was. I was gonna
Not
say it
even
was almost 2
exaggerating.
hours.
Because we instantly had a connection, and we had utilized, the virtual coffees and supporting each other online um, throughout the years. I think we met in 2022.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And then last year, Kim and I were Voxer whores. I mean, we love Voxer. It's just the way that we communicate with each other. And during one of our many beautiful Voxer moments, Kim, unbeknownst to her, pitched to have our relationship go to that next level.
Oh, no, it was totally beknownst.
Yeah, I wasn't beknownst.
It was
It's also great
totally
because you're kind of like
beknownst.
shuffling your feet. You're like, so, maybe would you? And that ask was to be just deeper with each other inside of
Mhm.
our businesses. Some people use accountability partner. I love to use the term business bestie. And that is how this space started to be created. That has now led us to, I don't want to say inventing, because I don't know about you, but I don't know any other space like this. So inventing this space called Decode the Damn Moment. So to put a little bit of my podcast host hat on, because we both have them.
Yep.
I would love for you, Kim, to kind of walk through what the support has been for you. I'll share mine as well, obviously, and just what have been your biggest takeaways or your biggest fuck yeahs with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, going back a little bit so that we can understand like the power of this container
Mhm.
from my perspective. So I was in the entertainment industry. I was practicing attorney. I was a nonprofit executive. I've had my own business. I've been an entrepreneur my whole life, as we had a conversation the other day. Like I started my first business when I was 12.
Same.
Right. So I've always been an entrepreneur. Started this business 8 years ago. And there's always been that place of, but how much can I show up as myself and how much do I show up as the leader? Now, a lot
Mhm.
of that comes from, and this is part of the decoding, right? A lot of that has been experienced through our shared line 6, at least for me, through my perspective, how I had that sense, as well as through other aspects of my design that I started to unpack. One of the things with unpacking that for myself and in other containers was it felt very static.
Mhm.
It felt very like, well, I'm going to tell you what I see in this line or in this channel or in this gate, and then that's the way it is. Versus what I do. So there's this other product that I've created that takes into this whole. It takes in a holistic vision, and I've been able to, in real time with you, play out this is what I'm experiencing, right?
Mhm.
And a lot of my experiencing is because I have an open head and an open ajna, which means that I have the ability to think all the thoughts, most of which are not my own, and to come up with all these concepts, most of which are not my own, and get caught in that space of needing to speak from the logic.
Mhm.
That's not what I'm here to do.
Mhm.
And particularly for me, being able to use that and say, I know I'm stuck in my head right now. And for you to know what that means
Mhm.
has accelerated my ability to step out of the conditioning, to step out of those very traditional conditioned responses that I have,
Mhm.
to start to live and exist within my business in a brand new way.
Mhm.
And then the ripple effects of that, right? How then I am able to hold space differently.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know necessarily that my clients are feeling it quite as much, like, because I'm still showing up as me,
Mhm.
but I know I'm feeling it differently. I'm experiencing it differently, which is beautiful from my perspective. And so, from this place of having somebody be able to, in the beauty that you have, where you look at particularly, and I want to stay focused on the design aspect here, how
Mhm.
you look at the design and mirror it back is so different than how I look at it.
Mhm.
And which is so different than what we see out in the world.
Mhm.
And so having that ability to mirror back and forth,
Mhm.
problem solve, quote unquote, problem solve, bring each other questions, and do that back and forth,
Mhm.
and then be able to implement and integrate real time has
Mhm.
been so fucking powerful.
Mhm.
What about for
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, yes, and the first thing that
Hold
um
hang on. I gotta read that
yeah.
one.
Yes.
Damn. Hello, socialization and patriarchy. Love making this connection for myself with the open head. Yes, yes, yes. Michelle, that
Absolutely.
is absolutely it.
I love it. I love it. See how I got just had to toe goosebumps.
Yeah.
Uh, that is definitely an element to it. And I love that people are already picking up on the layers that this space has. Cause I think that I not think I know that is one of the things that I have so thoroughly enjoyed is because I have never really had a space of support that didn't come with an agenda. It always right? It always came with a framework. It always came with somebody else's lens, somebody else's words. And for those of you who don't know me, I've been an entrepreneur. I mean, a business owning entrepreneur since 2010. Same as Kim, I've been an entrepreneur my entire life. I grew up with entrepreneurs. My father, both my grandfathers, my grandmother, my uncle. I mean, I entrepreneurs a go go in my family. And so when I first started initiating myself inside of the coaching space, I really did it hardcore of that very tactical, capitalistic, patriarchal system. And though on the paper I was really successful, internally I was a mess. It was nothing but disconnection, but chaos, me second guessing myself. And it was deeper than just, oh, well, this is outside my comfort zone, or oh, it was my system going, no, 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 no. What the fuck is this? This isn't how you do things.
Yeah.
But I didn't know how to do that. So the spaces that I had found were again always came with an agenda from somebody else. When you and I created this space for each other, it gave me more than just the permission, but the safety and the love that allowed me to really be in this space, to be vulnerable with you about what I'm feeling, where it's coming from, and things that I don't typically share in a quote unquote professional relationship, right? That's why I love that we're using the word coupling. Like this is deeper than just a business partnership. This is the coupling of us and our gifts. And so the release and just, I mean, you probably just feel it like just having that space that I know I can turn to at any time with no judgment, with space held the way that I need it to be held without any sort of coercion or angle or structure, quote unquote. And for you to use your gifts, know how to see me through my design because you're obviously fluent in it as well. And give me that 4D perspective that I have never fully had access to before, which has then deepened my education and my access to myself. And it's funny when you and I were kind of brainstorming because we knew this was going to be more than us. We knew that from freaking day one. And we have been slowly but surely putting, the pieces of the puzzle together and creating that big picture. One of the things that we both really wanted to be able to do was be that accessible to people in the moment, to not have this pressure of, okay, well, let's look at this moment, but then let's give you a full-on 5-year plan, or
Yeah.
let's just go, okay, dear, that's nice, but let's focus over here and like get past it so we can get this done. But to really show people the profitability of the emotion in that moment.
Yeah. Yeah. There is so much happening in our world, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I don't think I need to tell anybody that. there is the
This is brand new information.
it's I know maybe you have not heard, but the world is a shit show right now. And we don't know where to look in the world. We
Mm-hmm.
don't know where to look in our careers, our businesses, our lives. It's, right? There is this collective holding, and
Mm-hmm.
yet there is also a collective opening that many people haven't actually stepped into. And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
what's been so cool about this energy between the two of us, that we have begun to experiment with and then be able to hear the broader mm, message is not quite the right word that I want right there, but just the broader voice. There we go. The
Yeah.
voice and tone with which we come with is that place of opening, because the world is a shit show
Mm-hmm.
because the world is opening to something new.
Mm-hmm.
We are within a 3-year time frame, that's within a 20-year time frame, that's within a 400-year time frame, that's within a 2000-year time frame. And it all builds on itself. And it
Mm-hmm.
is an evolution of our human existence.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, things are a little crunchy. So, like, collective evolution is crunchy,
Yeah.
particularly when there is a huge part of our population that isn't even aware that that's happening and doesn't want to go along for that ride.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so when we start to say, sure, there's that world that we can continue to live in
Mm-hmm.
and focus in and function in. And yes, that is where we hear, hey, come get your 10,000, 100,000, gazillion $1 million month,
Mm-hmm.
right? This is let's like keep building on bro marketing and all the
Hey,
systems
girl
that have
messaging. Yeah.
fuck it. I don't want to do
Yeah.
it.
Mm-mm.
Like, I'm a Manny Gen, and my generator is like, fuck you, I'm burnt. She's tired, friends.
Yeah.
She's tired for a reason. So having that ability to say, I'm aware that all of this is happening and that a lot of the world that we live in is saying, but I want to hold on to it. I'm going to grip onto it. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
like not let you take this from me. And
Mm-hmm.
then have this whole other part of the world of which Mel and I are part of. It's to say, yeah, we're shifting. Let's breathe into it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have all the answers, and we have ways of looking at things that can help us move through this as we experience our very real time in the moment evolution. And I think that's what's so important about this
Mm-hmm.
is next week, next month, next year, it's going to be different.
Mm-hmm.
So in this moment, what's coming
Mm-hmm.
up for you and how do we
Mm-hmm.
move through it?
Mm-hmm.
And I love the question that was asked about what you had shared.
Yeah, so thank you for asking. When I speak of profitability, for me, it's always threefold: mentally, emotionally, and financially. And that is just something that I have retooled for myself as I've deconditioned from that traditional patriarchal capitalistic, because we don't we're not taught to go to ourselves first and find that emotional profitability first. We are taught to, as entrepreneurs, as leaders, as business owners, to look at the numbers. Okay, what's your goal, right? And then from that goal, let's reverse engineer numbers. I love numbers. Numbers are beautiful. I love money. Money is amazing. And when we put that at the top of our hierarchy of needs, asking questions like the questions you can ask inside of the space of Decode the Damn Moment either become, I don't want to say irrelevant. They're put on the back burner because we think they're going to be decoded by hitting some sort of financial milestone. Whereas it's we when we flip that hierarchy of, ooh, let's find the emotional and mental and emotional profitability first, find that glimmer, find that hook, that anchor, that insert adjective here, then you can ride that out and find the profitability inside of it in that moment, and then utilize that to create that sustainability, so that financial profitability just comes with this ease. Because you and I, we talk about this often just inside of our space. We are our biggest obstacles, like, and where we are open, where we are, defined, all of those things, are such loud voices. So not only do we have the voices from our open centers, which actually I would love to know this. For those of you who are watching, could you let us know who has had a human design reading and
Mhm.
who has not? That way, if we're using a little bit of vernacular, they're like, "I'm sorry, what now?" We can, if we have time, spend a little bit of time delving into that. But in human design, we have open centers, which are our receivers, right? And a lot of us, which is why centers are kind of my area that I love to nerd out on human design. And that's one of the elements that we look at in Decode the Damn Moment, is that's where your stories come from. Because a lot of us have trained to react from these open centers instead of receive from them and move them into the places where they actually can be filtered in, out, through, and so forth. So it is that element of looking at, okay, where is this outside noise coming from? How is it creating inside noise inside of me? And then from there, what of it, and you mentioned this earlier, what of it is mine? What of it is not? And how can we ensure that we're utilizing that information in its most profitable states?
Yeah.
Um,
So some of the questions were, go back over those three, and yes, it's mental, emotional, and financial profitability. I would add
Correct.
in there energetic as well. I would add a fourth
Yeah, I love that.
because my friend, energy.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then several people who have had readings and those who have reverse engineered their birth times. But it sounds like there's a lot of kind of basic,
Hmm.
maybe uh, beyond just, I'm curious about this, beyond just having had your reading done years ago and maybe done a little bit of your own independent research, how much of it do you actually understand?
Great question.
How much of it have you actually integrated? Because those two things, understanding and integrating, are the places that we usually don't go
Mhm.
when we have any sort of reading done. So part of the work that I do beyond human design, gene keys, and astrology is looking at some of those other assessments that are out there that are, mainstream assessments, Enneagram and DISC. And actually, I don't use DISC. Why did I say that? Um, Enneagram and Clifton Strengths and VIA Strengths and so many others. And again, we use those as oh, I know who I am, right? I know I'm an INFP. But do I know how to integrate that? Do I understand what that truly means and what it's telling me? And what I would share with you is, if you know, say your 16 personalities type. So I'm an INFP. Mel, what are you?
I have no idea. You figured it out.
Think you're an ENFJ. But if I remember correctly. Anyway, whatever we are, we get the information and they're like, fantastic. Now I fit in a box.
Hmm.
Please, please, please know that you don't belong in a fucking box. None of us do. You are not a box. You are not a checkbox. You are not a type. So just because we use this beautiful tool of human design at the core of our work,
Hmm.
we are not saying you are your type, your authority. Like, you are not that.
Totally. Yeah.
That gives you insight into yourself. It also, and I think we both come from it from this direction, it gives you insight into your conditioning.
Yes.
And it is when we understand our conditioning that we have access to things like figuring out what is our mental, emotional, financial, and energetic profitability. How do we get there if we don't know how we've been conditioned?
Hmm.
So,
Yeah. I love that people, there seems to be a general consensus of understand. It's like this really beautiful conglomeration of understand but don't integrate. Kind of understands, kind of integrate. Yes, integrate, understand, beautiful. Um,
oh,
ooh,
I love the integrating the understanding.
yeah, that's gorgeous. Because it is that combination. And I love that you brought that up because, you know, personal development has been around for so long. And human design is more than just personal development. The insight that you and I love to provide with the tools that we utilize is more than just personal development. It's that validation and confirmation and understanding of themselves and pieces and awarenesses and quote unquote action steps, though typically not that structured, but steps to utilize it, steps to understand it deeper. So we don't just give you this information and then peace out, right? It is that here's you, here's who you are in this moment, why you're feeling the way that you're feeling, where this is coming from, and then suggestions, because again, this is up to you. The information that you get, please utilize and customize as you want to. Suggestions on how to start retooling or reframing, or purely just lovingly sitting with, not marinating in. You and I had that conversation yesterday. But sitting with what you are feeling with. Because I think that's another aspect as well. We try so hard, especially for those of you slash us who are open in the root and open in the crown, who have that pressure to know, pressure to do. We just want to get through it, right?
Mhm.
And so just tell me, Mel, just tell me, Kim, what's wrong with me? How can I fix it? And then can I move on?
Mhm.
Yes. And what would it feel like, look like, and give you by slowing that time a little bit, by really ingesting the information that Kim and I can provide to you in the moment without the pressure to instantly initiate, unless something does come forward. We're like, oh, yeah, that was it. That was the that I just
Mhm.
did popped, right? But it's also something that you can move through in your own time because it's layerable. This information that we utilize for each other and that we want to provide for you is not a quick fix. It's not a take this pill and you'll feel better in 30 seconds. It it may, I'm not gonna say probably, it may unlock even more things that you realize you have not given the time, energy, and space for. And so that's why we have created it to where you can ping us, poke us, whatever us at any time these do come up. Because we all go through hallways in different times. We all go through these transitions in different ways. And we also are designed differently in how we want to move through them. And I think this actually kind of reflects a little bit of our conversation yesterday, Kim, if you don't mind me sharing
Go ahead.
a little
Yeah.
bit. So I was riding an emotional wave yesterday. I am an emotional authority in human
Cowabunga.
design. Yeah, because we do cowabunga. And so honestly, I was not initially going to share in the moment with Kim just because it just didn't feel, I don't know, just wasn't pulled. She pinged me to talk about something, and I think you asked me how I was doing or something, and then I was like, oh, here we go, and just bleh, right. And we had noticed in that moment that we have two different styles of how we like to move through our emotional wave. And first and foremost, it's awesome. Nobody has the same chart, therefore nobody has the same process, therefore nobody has the same anything inside of human design and inside of how they move through it. But what I really appreciated was the fact that Kim is more of the energy of, yeah, I will recognize you, I will love you, and I'm going to like, move, like I'm gonna what can I do? What can I do to fix it? It's and actually I would love for you to kind of preface that a little bit better because I feel
Yeah.
like I don't even do
Because
that.
that wasn't where it was coming from at all.
No, 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 I know. As
No,
soon as I said it, I was like, shut up, Mel, let Kim
no,
talk.
it was coming from my Mama Bear channel,
Yeah.
right? That's where it was coming from. So I have I think that's my 1034. Like I forget which is which all the time. I always have to look up the actual numbers. It's so funny. Like I can look at a chart and intuit it, and then the technicalities. I'm like, let me make sure I'm telling you the exact number so you can look at the same thing I'm looking at. But I believe it's my 1034, that Mama Bear channel.
Mhm.
And what I was feeling in that moment, what I was experiencing from my defined emotional center in that moment that you were sharing your emotional wave was a concern isn't even the right word, a an awareness that there was the potential for getting stuck in it.
Mhm.
So it wasn't that I thought you were stuck in it. It wasn't
Mhm.
that I wanted to fix that you were stuck in it.
Mhm.
It was that in that moment is there a level of nurturing and support that could help you facilitate the movement through so you
Mhm.
didn't get stuck? That and
Mhm.
that was the totality of it. Like, I didn't care
Mhm.
what that looked like. And you were like,
Mhm.
"No, this is how I have to do it." And I'm like, "Beautiful. Fantastic. Carry on."
Yeah. And the fact that we were both able to, I mean, one, that I was able to listen
Mhm,
and go and not get defensive, because I'm, to be fair, that would been me, 4 or 5 years ago, of like, no, shut the fuck up. Um, but to be able to go, okay, so now I have a deeper understanding of how I can support you, because that is part of your process. So gave me information of how to hold space more
mhm,
profitably for you. And also that, again, that reminder, and this is a great reminder for everybody who's watching this, that you customize this information and you make it work what's best for you. And so even when we do decode the damn moment for you, we are coming from a space of, this is what we see, this is what we know. And what do you hear? What pulls to you? Because there's going to be some things that in the moment you're going to be like, I'm sorry. No, that doesn't make any sense. And it could make sense later. You could look
mhm.
back on it 1, 2, 10, whatever X amount of time later and go, oh, there it is. Okay, cool. Was worried about that a month ago, whatever. Um, so it's that understanding as well, that it's information for you to know that you're, again, that validation and confirmation of what you're feeling is valid, because it always is. That information of where it's coming from and how we see that moving through with all of, with the transits, with everything else and all the tools that we do utilize. And even more so, that permission for you to then utilize it and implement it, because we will thoroughly encourage you to do that as you see fit. There will be, again, suggestions from us, but I think that's just, for some reason, that's coming forward to me as something that's really important to establish inside of this space, that
Mhm.
we are not here to tell you what to do. We don't have an angle. We don't have
We're
an
not
angle.
big pharma.
No. We're not media
We're the
appointments.
antithesis of big pharma.
We're here to support you in the moment of vulnerability, of safety, of, of authenticity that is beyond any agenda that anybody could have. So,
So I have a question for you. Just like
yeah.
I feel like this is important to talk about. So we've talked about generally, right?
Hmm.
How we've utilized this. And so the offering here today that we're making is not to be in Voxer for 47 hours a day with each
No.
other like we are. But I do think it's important to understand because we're talking about decoding the moment.
Yeah.
Let's actually talk through. Could we talk through just a little
I
bit
was
about
just
what
about to go there, actually. See why we work so well. I mean, go for it. Yes, go.
okay, cool. So the first stepping in point that we wanted to make an offering because we do see this as something that's growing and that will organically become something else. But this first stepping in point that we wanted to create the space for what we have already experienced as being so fuck all powerful is moment by moment. And so that moment isn't, hey, Kim, hey, Mel, will the two of you look at my chart and tell me everything that you see? No. A
We can, but that will cost you a little bit more.
lot of money. what we what we want to do is help you start the deconditioning process, is to
Hmm.
start the process of integrating the information that you have, if you already have been working with a little bit or a lot with your chart, with your design, with astrology, with gene keys, whatever aspect you're stepping into, we want to help you integrate it more deeply. We want to help you understand and peel back those layers. And we often, when we get, I know this was true for me, we get these designs and we get our body graphs and we get a report and all this good stuff. And then we're like, Cool, cool, cool. Okay, I know I'm a managen. I know I'm a 4-6. I know emotionally defined. And then we stop.
Mhm.
And there is so much information and access that's there. And as I said, we're inside of a cycle, and we're in a daily cycle
Mhm.
that is actually a multi-hour cycle if we bring in the moon. So what is depending on what's coming up for you, right? Depending on kind of what's sitting on your heart, on your soul, in your gut right now, or even on your mind, in that moment, like what information, what question could be answered to help you unstick, evolve, expand,
Mhm.
right? Because this isn't about fixing.
Mhm.
This is about finding that place where it's like, oh, right? It's the oracle card of human design. Like,
I love that.
thank you. You pull that oracle card and you go, ooh, now I have this to reflect on.
Mhm.
And that's what we're giving you within this decode the damn moment, is that answer to that one question. And that answer is, here's what we're seeing. So do you
Mhm.
want to talk through like what it is we're going to look at when we look in there?
Yeah, so for myself, as I mentioned earlier, centers are my place. And the reason why I am probably going to primarily look at your centers inside of this moment is because it does give that landing space of where those stories and that monologue is probably coming from. And then even inside of that, then where is it that you can move it to, or how can you transmute it, to use a little bit of woo language, into something that is connectable to you, that's tactical to you. And not tactical in a way of like strategery, but like tactile, like the way that you can just actually touch it. Because I know for me, that is a place that I continuously work on, uncode, decode, uncover all the time, because the conditioning is real.
Mhm.
And for me specifically, I only have 2 centers defined out of 9. That's like, so I'm open to open. And therefore, I have a lot of stories and a lot of conditioning that has gone too far and is very layered, and a lot of shit, um, in my 44 years of life. Good life, but still trauma.
Mhm.
Um, so that is the area that I will initially look at. I'm curious, as we are offering this offer, where else, because this is expanding for us too. Like, again, let's call a spade a spade. We we're playing in this space. We know where we want to go. We know the tools that we want to use. And I'm also very excited to see how this continues to expand for us as facilitators. But I know for me, I'm primarily using human design. My areas that I will be looking at for you is inside of your centers. What about for you?
Yeah. So I love playing in the planets. So the planets to me give an amazing narrative.
Mhm.
And the thing that fascinates me, so it's the story, right? If we read through our planets from, top to bottom on both sides of our charts, those are the squares on either side, the red, usually red and black squares on either side of your chart. Those planets tell us a story of ourselves. Those planets are also constantly in motion.
Mhm.
And those planets, there's a lot of overlap between where those planets are, what gates they're going through, and how it shows up on your natal or your transit charts in astrology. Now, I'm not an astrologer. Um, I've studied a lot, but I'm not an astrologer. I look for the synchronicities there. So I'm not
Mhm.
going to do a deep astrological reading, but if I see something like, "Ooh, you're in the midst of a pretty intense return right now," like that, I'm going to share that with you. Because I think it's important to understand not only the story of ourselves if we're just in our own energy.
Mhm.
Here's the trick. We're never just in our own energy.
No, I wish.
I bet you do. I bet you, especially for highly undefined individuals, it is really hard to exist in a world where you are never in your own energy.
Mm-hmm.
We are only ever fully in our own energy if we are in the middle of a deep, dark forest, totally by ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's plants and animals that have their own designs that affect us as well, but it's the closest we're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
So, short of that, short of going away into this deep, dark forest by ourselves, we also need to know, how are we being impacted? How
Mm-hmm.
are the collective transits impacting us? How are we impacted by others in our aura, right? Others that are touching those aspects of self. So I'm really, that's the part that I love sharing with you, is a little bit
Mm-hmm.
into the narrative that might be playing out, that I see coming up in whatever question or whatever's on your heart, whatever you're sharing with us, is what part of the narrative is being lit up, and then how is that playing out in any transits that are happening. And so yeah, that's where I love to play. I mean, I was a
Again,
storyteller, I was a theater kid, so
hi,
yeah, I know.
theater, awesome. I know. And this is the thing that excites us both. I would say the most is to be able to show you the story of you, the story of your magic, of your accessibility, your process. Because again, coining human design, because that is my nerdism, that beautiful science of differentiation and that profitability inside of that uniqueness, because we are moving into an age where that uniqueness, that individuality, is going to be I mean, it's always your main profitable points, but especially as we move into 2027, who you are, the connection that you have to yourself, your processes, your pace, your systems, and so forth, the more you can have that just really anchored into something that is unshakable for yourself, the ease of which you are going to be ushering in for yourself as we continue to move through this clusterfuck of chaos.
What era
is
did you live through, the clusterfuck of
Yeah,
chaos?
oh, like seriously, like yeah, we should put that on a t-shirt.
Yep.
I survived the clusterfuck of chaos, and I just put from 1981 to question mark. Um, but it is something that, as I've mentioned, is not, and I've never seen offered before in this capacity. So I'm going to make this a little bit more structured, just to kind of give people, for my generators who want to have this step by step. So how this works is we're going to put a link in the comments. Unfortunately, I can't do it from StreamYard because apparently I didn't upgrade high enough. So as soon as this live is over, or maybe Kim can do it as she's
I'm
on
gonna
her
see if I can.
computer.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So we're going to put a link in the comments. That's going to take you to our landing page. And when you click on that and we're ready to purchase, a little form is going to come up, and we're going to ask you for your birth date, your birth time, and your birth location. And then we're going to ask you, what are you moving through right now? What are you feeling? And be as word vomity as you want to be. Actually, the more information we could have of how you're or what you're feeling, possibly what is happening around you that has triggered this, whatever you feel comfortable sharing, obviously, the more we know, the more we're able to really get that next level lens for you. And then within 3 business days, you will receive an email from Kim and I that will have a guided voice message from the both of us. So Kim will walk through her parts with the planets, the transits, and whatever else comes forward for her for you. And then you will hear a message from me that connects it to your centers, your human design, and again, anything else that comes forward for me for you. You will have access to that for as long as you need it. And then a little bullet point of some of the more just some of the highlights or some of the possible suggestions, soul work, inserts, descriptor here, of ways you can utilize that information, or maybe even the pings that are the strongest from us for you. And then you can utilize that information again as you see fit. This offer is meant to be used when you need it. So ping us as often as you need to. If you found that this is something that you really enjoy and would like to explore how we could continue to do that, we'll play in that space with you. Like we we're in Gemini season, baby. So we're here to expand and to play. But that's basically the gist of it. So you ping us, you give us your birth date, time, and location. Tell us what you are moving through, how you're feeling, what's triggered it, for lack of a better term. And 3 business days, you will get an email from us with a guided voice message from the both of us, walking you through those areas of your charts. A quick bullet points, email of the powerful points we want you to, that felt called for us to bring forward for you, as well as any suggestions and any awareness that we can bring to you that you can facilitate on your own. And if you have any other questions, you could always email us, contact us further. But that's it. Quick, easy. And that's why we want to do it. We want to do something where you can know that you've been seen, heard, validated. And that way you can just kind of let it go for a minute. Let us hold it for you. Let us give it back to you with a little bit more, with some zhuzhing, with some information, with some layers. And then you can utilize that as you see fit. I know we're getting close to time. So I just wanted to see, for those who are still on, first of all, thank you for joining us. Does anybody have any questions, whether that is logistical, whether that is personal? What do you got?
And I did drop the link in.
Oh, beautiful.
It doesn't look like it showed up as a hyperlink on my end, but hopefully it did in yours. But as we're done with this, we'll go ahead and post it out.
Thanks, Sarah. It's so good to see you. Sarah is another one of those connections where we have connected. We have not connected in real life. And it's one of those, like, I don't know, just really
Mel
lovely.
is so much taller than I expected.
I get that a lot. For those of you who are wondering, I am a scotch under 6 foot. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, freaked me out how I was like, dang, another tall friend.
I
I
usually
am
typically warn people before they meet me in real life, like, by the way,
Yeah.
I'm tall. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not quite 5'3". And so, but I think the average height of my friends are like, at this point, 5'8", 5'10".
hard to.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to extend this to you guys as well, or to y'all as well, as you are processing this information. So for those of you who are emotional or sacral and need a little bit of time and need a little bit more information, Kim and I are going to be hosting a private Q&A via Zoom this coming Friday, so a week from today at 11 a.m. Central. This, again, is going to be a private Zoom, so you'll have a lot more one-on-one or two-on-one access to us. That's going to be a space for you to, again, kind of process out a little bit about what you're experiencing, and we can show you a little bit of, of our magic, not the full enchilada, obviously. But we want you to be able to get the information that you need so you can respond in the way that you want to and are feel called to respond. So if you would like to be invited to that private Q&A, please comment more time below. We will send you the calendar events. This is obviously being recorded, and this will be shared from our audiences. The private Q&A will not be recorded. So if you cannot make it, let us know. And what we can do is either ask, see what questions you do have, and possibly we can just chalk through that through email. Or if it's something that you really want to have some concentrated time on, let us know, and we will create something that we can have space for with the both of us. Any questions or anything else you want to share before we close out, Kim?
No, I just want to check in. We still have a group of people who are here live
Yeah,
with us.
chat
So
people.
I would love to know if there are any questions, any thoughts, and actually, what is your takeaway from this conversation today?
Ooh.
Like, what is that thing that you're going, wow, I learned that, or that has me wanting to reflect more? What about you, Mel? I know we do this all the time, and these are conversations we have all the time,
Yeah,
but I still always get something new.
I would say for me in this moment, it's the excitability that this space now exists, because I have been looking for this space for years and have never, as I mentioned at the top of this time, never really truly experienced it so holistically, WHOLE. Like, to be able to do this for others in a way that is low energy for them, as in they can know, like, like just that feeling of, oh my god, two people just heard me and saw me, and now I can just kind of be, as I wait for more information. And yes, I'm talking to Manny gens and generators. it's it's so exciting that this is where we are moving towards, and the fact that we are here now in this present moment, opening that door and seeing what's on the other side. I think my biggest takeaway from just all of this is just the energy that I feel that this is needed by more than us. It's that validation that there is so much beautiful information out there, and not usually a space for them to be able to process it in their own time fully, without any pressure, without any, again, agenda. But I think the biggest takeaway is just how excited I am in this collective moment, that there are these magical, amazing people here. There's more, there's going to be seeing this, and the ripple effect that this is going to continue to solidify as we move into this new age of 2027.
Yeah. Yeah.
By yourself.
Yeah. It is. I think for me, the fact that so often we talk about, like, these are the spaces that we want, these are the
Mhm,
conversations we want to have, these are the things that we want to do. And in my true aura, in my true self, I go fast, I make it happen, and I continue to move through.
mhm,
This is something that has been growing, that we've been talking about, that we've been experiencing in different ways, and we have continued to get to where we are now. We've continued to pull back layers and
mhm,
said, now's the time to breathe this into the earth, right?
mhm,
To birth it forward. And to know that there are more moments for that in
mhm,
a non-rush to market way. Like, to use that
mhm,
term, right? We don't need to rush
mhm,
to market, because as we're breathing life into it, as it's becoming what it's going to be, we are getting more information from ourselves, from those that join us, from those that we're in conversation with, what is wanting to be met in the moment.
mm,
So while we're offering this to each of you for how you decode the moment for you, we're also, I think, broadly looking at how collectively do we meet the moment with this very unique way of bringing us back to self,
mhm,
right? As the individual becomes more and more centralized, and I don't mean that in a gross way, but it, like, right, because that's how people will hear it. And
mhm,
yet we have spent the last 400 years focusing on the institution, and now
mhm,
we're focusing on the individual. For us to grow into that, we need to understand who self is. And so this is a way that we get to meet the moment, to allow each of us to do that for ourselves, with others, and in community.
mhm. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for watching the replay. If you've watched this on a replay, go ahead and hit reply replay below. And in the interim, the link is live. We are here for you to decode that damn moment when you feel calls for that support. In the interim, if you would like to share some more time with us and you have some questions at any time, comment more time below or DM either Kim or myself, and we will give you the link to the calendar event for our private Q&A via Zoom that's happening this coming Friday. So May
30th.
30th, yes, May 30th at 11 a.m. Central. Thank you for joining me, Kim. It was so fun.
Thanks, Mel.
All right, everybody, have a lovely rest of your Friday, and we'll chat soon. Bye.
Bye, everyone.